The Princess Empath and the Hurt. There once was an upper mid-range narcissist who called himself Prince, not the deceased pop star, but rather because he decided he was a prince amongst men. He decided it was time to find a princess. He had had plenty of these princesses before. After all, with his good looks and keen mind, he was something of a catch, and it was not difficult for him to ride out to a hunting ground and ensnare a fresh one. He found, however, that after a period of time he grew tired of their fawning and praise, and realized he needed something more, something better, something substantial and long-lasting from his princesses. But since he was not a greater narcissist, he did not, of course, know quite what it was that he required. Accordingly, he sauntered over to a mirror that he had found which talked back to him. Well, when he says he found it, he stole it, but then again, everything was his to take, because after all, he was a prince. Mirror, mirror, I have nicked. Tell me who I need, who will get royally digged, he asked. Oh, hello, conker-bollocks, yawned the face in the mirror. You need a Princess Empath, matey boy. Since this is a fairy tale, I am sure one will come along soon. Later that night, there was a terrible storm, and there came a knocking at the castle door. Somewhat improbably, the old king himself went to open the door, although as a carrier empath he found himself running around doing all the chores for the royal family, and at the door he found a bedraggled young lady. She was in a terrible state from the rain and the storm. The water streamed out of her hair and her clothes. It ran in at the top of her shoes and out the heels, but the production of her tiara atop a Salvation Army hat marked her down as a clearly empathic lady of royal distinction. Dearie me, declared the old king. Do come in. Do you need shelter? Yes, please, replied the Princess Empath. I gave up my room at the Sally Army to a homeless unicorn, so I have nowhere to stay. Just then the Prince Nark appeared, and in an instant felt that this bedraggled and soaking lady had significant potential. He sidled up to her, and, as she stood dripping, asked her 20 questions ascertaining her empathic class and special traits. Fair quivering with excitement, Prince Nark called out to the Queen, Oh, Mamma, I have a new friend. Well, I say new, we've known each other for 10 years, and I have been in love with her for 8 of those years, but never got around to telling her. May she stay over? The Queen Nark swept into view. Royal chambers are for royalty only, she said with a sneer. Oh, I am a princess, Princess Empath, your majesty, replied the girl politely as she curtsied. Looking like that? I think not, said the Queen. The Queen Nark sensed competition for the affections of Prince Nark and did not welcome this intrusion. She, however, sensed an opportunity for triangulation and, potentially, negative fuel. Since you say you are a princess, and an empathic one at that, then we shall soon see if that is true, declared the Queen Nark. She flounced away and snapped her fingers for the entourage of 7 little men, who were engaged in a community payback scheme after certain felonies and crimes in the forest of empaths, to trot after her. Can she stay, Mamma, or not? asked Prince Nark. She may, declared the Queen Nark. I shall arrange for the bitter sweet to be turned down for her. The Queen Nark headed to the bitter sweet, 7 little men in tow. She ordered them to remove the bedclothes, and then from a box she produced a dark, hard stone which seemed to absorb all the light from the gas lights dotted around the room. This concentrated hurt will soon determine whether she is indeed a Princess Empath. If she is the delicate and sensitive empath she claims to be, then she will feel this hurt through anything, muttered the Queen Nark to herself. She placed the hurt on the bed, and then snapped at the 7 little men to haul 20 mattresses on top of it. She then commanded them to place 20 feather beds on top of the mattresses. Once done, a ladder was placed beside the gargantuan bed just as the Princess Empath arrived. You should sleep well with that degree of comfort, said the Queen Nark, as she swept away followed by the 7 little men. Cold and tired, the Princess Empath began to ascend the ladder to bed. The next morning, the Princess Empath arrived at the royal dining room to find the Prince Narc and Queen Narc dining on hard cheese and sour grapes, served by the 7 little men. Queen Narc had let the Prince Narc in on her scheme, as she saw great benefits to ensnaring the Princess Empath through her son, and engaging in rampant triangulation thereafter. "Good morning," said the Princess Empath brightly. The 2 Narcs eyed her suspiciously. "How did you sleep?" asked the Prince Narc, barely able to contain his excitement. "Oh, terribly," sighed the Princess Empath. The Prince grinned. "I have hardly closed my eyes the whole night. Heaven knows what was in the bed. I seem to be lying upon some hard thing, and my body is black and blue this morning. It is terrible," continued the Princess Empath. "Nobody but a real Princess Empath would have such an ability to feel the hurt in such a way," said the Queen Narc, as her forked tongue brushed over her sharp teeth. "Indeed, I am Princess Empath, Princess Super Empath, actually. Oh, I felt the hurt all right, but that wasn't what kept me awake," said the Princess Empath suddenly. "What?" said the Prince Narc. "No, it was this," cried the Princess Empath, and from behind her back she produced a large gold strap-on with the words "Prince's Big Helper" emblazoned along it. Oh, Mamma," muttered the Prince as his eyes fell on the weapon of anal intrusion. "It had been left in the bed. Looks like you will be needing this to sort out little Prince Pissyknickers here," smiled Princess, as she lobbed the strap-on towards the fuming Queen Narc and turned on her heel. "Mamma," wailed Prince Narc, as the shame of the discovery threatened his construct, and he fell to the floor and curled into a ball. "I'm not your mother," hissed Queen Narc as she stormed from the dining room, leaving the bewildered 7 little men behind. "Does this mean we can go back to Snow White now?" asked one. "I don't know, but I'm going to hang with this Princess Empath for a while. She is kick-ass," answered the other, and trotted after the departing Princess Empath. And so some people lived happily ever after.